right? It's about that student. You care for that student. Make sure you're communicating that to that parent. I care about your child, and we are working together as a team. We're on the same team. Hi there, I'm Katherine Barker, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the tricky topic of how to deal with difficult parents as a teacher. It's a tough topic, but it's really important to talk about. And in this video, I hope that I can give you tips and tricks and give you some tools to pull out whenever you need to have those tough conversations with parents. And I just want to say that it's going to happen. I knew I could count on it every year that I was going to have 1, 2, maybe more kind of difficult parents. So don't be shocked or surprised when it happens, because it's not a matter of if but when. And that's just kind of how it goes when you're working with people, right? Whether it's maybe difficult coworkers or administrators or just people in life, right? When you're working with people, you're going to just kind of have those confrontation and kind of those hiccups. And what's important is having the tools to move through that and come out on the other side having a better, stronger relationship for it. So I'm gonna break this video into 3 different parts. The first part is why parents may become difficult to work with. The second part will be some things that you can do to kind of prevent those misunderstandings from happening in the first place. And the third part is really how to have those tough conversations with parents and how to move through them smoothly and for you to stay professional the entire time and for the conversation to come out as productive and solution focused. Okay, so what are some common reasons of why parents become difficult to work with in the first place? So maybe parents become kind of more difficult to work with because maybe they're super stressed at home or at work. Maybe they're frustrated with the school system. Maybe they aren't being communicated with on a frequent basis, so they're confused, they're frustrated. So there's kind of a few different things that could kind of cause this to happen. They may also have some concerns about their child, and so they're really worried about them, or maybe they feel kind of constantly defensive over their child. So there's kind of a lot that we want to take into consideration going into this. And this can be the hardest thing, I feel like, when it comes to working with difficult parents, because maybe they're can be really angry, they can be really hostile towards you. But what I have found is that typically when people are very angry and they kind of have outbursts of rage and they kind of will take it out on you or probably other people, a lot of times internally they're really hurting. There's more going on inside. A quote that I love is, "If we could peer into the hearts of our enemies, we would find enough pain and sorrow to wipe away all hostility." So I want you to have that frame of mind when you kind of interact with these kind of tough parents. Is a lot of times there's more going on under the surface, right? There's so much we don't know that's going on. So kind of trying to have that take on let's try to be compassionate and understanding. Is it okay that they're being angry and yelling at you? Absolutely not. But a lot of times they're not doing it just because they're just a mean person. A lot of times they're just, there's a lot of pain underneath the anger. Okay, let's move into the next section, which is be proactive. So when we have clear, consistent, and proactive communication with our parents and families, a lot of times you can completely avoid any misunderstandings. It is so important to maintain an open line of communication between parents and yourself and in the classroom. If you're frequently communicating with them, it can clear up any issues with, say, they didn't know a school event was happening, or they didn't know that their kiddo had a behavior issue with this student. So you want to have some form of communication set in place beforehand, whether that form be through a messaging app, or if you have a monthly newsletter, or you check in after school and kind of have conversations with, maybe if one student in particular is struggling behaviorally, you can kind of have a daily check-in where you kind of say, hey, this is how they did. But any way that you choose, make sure that it's something that you're able to keep up with, that you're able to do frequently and often. And so the parents know that is the best way to communicate with you. And if you currently don't have any ways that you use to help communicate with parents, be sure to check out my video, 10 simple ways to communicate with parents as a teacher. In that video, I share 10 really easy ways that you can use to Frequently communicate with your parents, with your families, and if they're easy to set up, they're easy to use. You can pick whatever one works for you, but they're just some ideas for you to use. Another way that you can be proactive to kind of prevent any misunderstandings from happening is there are times that you may need to clarify for students and for parents your roles and their roles and the student role. For example, I had a parent that was really kind of upset with me that their child wasn't taking home their homework every Monday. I guess they were looking in their cubby and they were just leaving it there. And they got upset with me and were like, you need to make sure she takes her homework home. So at that moment, it's not my job, right? It's not my responsibility to make sure that she checks in her cubby and she takes home. I can't do that for all 25 students, right? So in that moment, I got down to my students' level. I didn't even respond to the parent and I said, oh my goodness, friend, so you're not taking your homework home. Remember, your job is to take your homework out and put it in your backpack, right? That's not Mrs. Barker's job, that's your job. So it's important in those moments to really gently kind of remind parents and students of their responsibilities and their roles, what you're responsible for and what you are not responsible for. Okay, let's move into the third section, which is how to handle those tough conversations with parents. So the best thing I can say is remain calm, cool, and collected, right? You need to stay professional the whole time. I know it can be so difficult. Your emotions are going to rise up. You may feel frustrated, you may feel angry, defensive, just like, I'm done with this. But in that moment, it's really important to just take a deep breath, pause, and just kind of listen. And remember, staying professional. So in the beginning, you just kind of want to listen and really take in what they're saying, right? Listen before you speak. Sometimes it can be hard when a parent is getting upset at you and you automatically want to just start like defending yourself. By staying calm and professional, you really can help just set the tone. So in your response, you're going to stay calm, professional, and solution focused. So really think about, okay, how can we work together to kind of hash this out, to work this out so we have a solution at the end of this? How can we work together? Maybe it was a misunderstanding. There were times when I just had to say, you know what, I'm so sorry. I did not handle that well, but moving forward, let's do this. I really recommend involving the parent in the problem-solving process. Collaboration can really help to build trust and it helps the student in the long run. And that's really what the whole conversation really needs to be about, right? It's about that student. You care for that student. Make sure you're communicating that to that parent. I care about your child. And we are working together as a team. We're on the same team. Now, that does not mean a parent gets to walk all over you and tell you what to do and how to do things, right? You are the professional. So there may be times where you need to set those boundaries. You can very gently say it in a very kind way. Thank you so much for your suggestions. I'll consider them. And then you kind of move on from there. So there is a big caveat to this. If a parent becomes angry or hostile, starts raising their voice or says like degrading things to you, that is when you stop the conversation, you end it, and you say, this conversation is no longer appropriate. I'm going to go ahead and stop it now, and we're going to wait until my administrator is present. They may be so worked up and angry and upset that maybe they keep yelling at you. You just repeat it again. I'm going to end this conversation right now. It is no longer appropriate. We'll go ahead and continue it when my administrator is present. And at that point, if they keep going, you just stop and you walk away, because it is never okay for you to be treated in an unkind way. So if you need to walk away and go to the office, go get your principal right then, whatever you need to do, the most important thing I can say is you need to communicate that they are not allowed to treat you that way, right? You are a human. They need to treat you with kindness and respect. And then with your administrator present, remember, you're going to try to go back to, let's have a solution-focused conversation. That's the most important thing. With those tough conversations, you want to hear out what the parent is trying to say to you, take it in, and then say, okay, how can we work together to find a solution to this? And managing difficult parents is a skill that really is perfected over time. You have lots of practice. You need to have those conversations and practice having that solution-focused conversation, practice staying professional, staying calm. You're not going to be perfect at it, right? We're all human. We're going to have a bad day and maybe say something we shouldn't. But what's important is owning up to it and coming back and saying, I'm sorry for this. Let's come back to the drawing board and let's work again together to find a solution to this. It will get easier with time. All right, that wraps up this video. I hope that you found this information helpful and useful, and that it's able to make your conversations with parents go that much smoother. And don't forget to check out my my video, 10 simple ways to communicate with parents for teachers. All right, that's it for now, my friend. Until next time, happy teaching.